Good morning. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, right.
Yes, Venk.
Okay. Yeah. Just give me a minute. Okay. So yesterday we have discussed about BigQuery UDFs, and we also discussed about views. The difference between normal views and materialized views. So we have seen that concepts yesterday. Uh, Today we will try to see about common table expressions, CTEs. Um, we will try to understand how we can write CTEs, common table expressions, and then we will jump into the data proc introduction. Okay, so that is the agenda for today. Quickly, let me share my screen. Hope you are able to see my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So let us quickly understand what is CTE. So in real-time implementations, when we are writing stored procedures or when we are writing sequels, right? So what will happen? We will try to write, a very big sequels, right? So very big sequels, and those sequels are very much complicated to understand, right, for a new people, right? So and there, if there is any kind of reusability, let us take an example. You have done the aggregation in the beginning of your query, but if you want to use that aggregation in the end of your query, the same result you won't be able to utilize, right? So because you need to perform it again, so you can eliminate this kind of code redundancy or SQL functionality redundancy by using these CTEs. Okay, so what is the major purpose of CTEs? CTE means common table expression. Okay, so the main advantage of this CTE is you can avoid the SQL code redundancy. So we know, right? So in programming we have a concept called inheritance. What is the main purpose of inheritance? The reusability of the code, right? So we define one function, and then we will make it generic, and we will call it as and when we need. Correct. So similarly, what we do is we'll create one CTE, and we'll name it, and then we will use it in our SQL whenever it is needed. Okay, so that is the importance of common table expressions. Okay, so this common table expressions also avoids multiple compute, right? So if you want to perform the same query again and again in your big stored procedure or in your big SQL, right? So in that scenarios, you can actually make use of CTEs. You just create one CTE with the logic that you need and use that CTE wherever you need in the complete SQL process. So that is the importance of your SQL. Importance of your common table expressions. So let us quickly see one example, okay, so that you will get full clarity on it. We will just take one table. So stg underscore emp data. Okay, so let's go to the preview. What data we have? Okay, so we have first ID, first name, last name, email, gender, and created data. Okay, okay. So what I need is, so let's take one example, right? Okay, so I just need in the mail employees. Okay, I need the top first one who got joined into the system, right? So under the male employees, I want the first person who's joined into the system. So okay, so how we can write that query? So let us quickly see. I have Okay, so let us quickly write this query, right? So select star from EMP STG underscore EMP data. So here what we are trying to do, we are trying to extract all the table data. So what is our use case? Get me the employee who is first joined. Get me the first joined male employee, right? So first joined male employee. So what we need, so we have the created date, and based on the date we need to identify the first joined male employee details we need. Okay, so the first and foremost thing that you need to do is, so let us take an example. I'm just creating with CTEs. Okay, so with the so CTE will start with clause. Okay, so with male employees as, right? So under as, you will write your logic. Okay, select star from. Okay, select star from the table, select star from the table where gender equals to, so I'm just mentioning male. Okay, so now this is my CTE, right? So how you will call this CTE? So after completion of your CTE, you will just say select star from male underscore employees or employees. Okay, so this is how you will create your CTE and use it. Okay, this is how we will create your CTE and use it. So CTE will always start with clause. Okay, and the CTE name, and then as clause, and then inside as you need to put your logic. Okay, now what this CTE will return? This CTE will return only the male employees. Okay, now in your entire process, okay, in your entire process, or in the upcoming statements, wherever you need only the male employees data, there you can actually call this CTE. Okay, now I call this CTE in the immediate to the next after completion of this CTE. I just called this CTE. Okay, and then after this, what I'm trying to do, I will try to select star comma row underscore number. Okay, I'm just specifying over order by. So what is the type of this stage EMP data? Let's see the schema. And we have date type, right? Okay, it's okay. Now here over order by created. Okay, created underscore date descending. Okay, so now I'm assigning the row number value, okay, as RN. Okay, now this is the row number. Okay, logic. Now let's put it in another CTE. Okay, so now you can chain your CTEs, guys. Okay, you can create multiple CTEs, and then you can chain them as you required. Okay, so now here you can see sort male employees. Okay, as Okay. Now what you do, so you just try to select star from sort male employees. Okay. So when you run this here, how many CTEs you have, guys? You have two CTEs, correct? So the first and foremost CTE always starts with clause, but the second CTE is not needed to start with clause. You can start with comma itself. Okay, so you have first CTE, comma, the second CTE name as, similarly, if you want to add third CTE, comma, CTE name as, that's it. You can keep on create your CTEs and then write. As soon as all the CTE is completed, you need to just query whatever you need. Okay, for example, this is one treaty is CTE is a kind of temp table. Okay, so you can treat it as a one table, and then this is another table. You can do join, you can perform all the activities like SQL. Okay, so here I'm operating row number on top of the CTE. It will support. So because the reason is CTE is a kind of a table only, the temporary table, right? So whatever the data, whatever the logic that you put in, according to that logic, your table will get reflected, or your CTE will be created. So what I'm trying to say is, when you're implementing very big uh, SQL things in real time projects, CTEs will always help you to write your SQL in a flexible fashion, right? And these CTEs will also reduce uh, the duplicate of aggregations or computes uh, that are needed in the SQL process. Because once you created this CTE, you can call it in your entire SQL, right? So that is where you can reuse the same CTE multiple times wherever it is needed, right? So it will always increase the performance. If you are doing the duplicate aggregations or duplicate compute, then you can put that in CTE, and then you can call the CTE whenever needed, right? So that is how you can actually increase the performance also. So here, if you see, I have executed this. Did it got executed or not? Okay, let me run it. Okay, so let me see if I got the RN. Yeah, see here. So this is my RN data. Okay, now what I need to do, I just need to filter where RN equals to 1, right? That's it. So the requirement got satisfied, right? So the one who joined into our system very first, and who is a male also. Okay, so any questions with respect to common table expressions? Any concerns or any issues in understanding, guys? Are you able to understand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, fine. So that's all about the common table expressions, guys. So and that's where I'm just wrapping up this big query also.
Pinky,
Yeah, yeah, Ranganath.
uh, in starting, I remember that using where clause will consume more data, no, in BigQuery.
Will
Instead of
scan more data. Is that what your
yes, yes.
statement is? Okay.
Mm,
Okay, using where clause will scan more data. Yes, obviously it will scan more data, but underneath your tables in real time, what we do partitioning and clustering, Ranganath. So we don't leave the table as simple as that. So any big query data model that we have, let us say we have 10 different tables for a specific project, and architect will understand. Okay, so these tables have okay, out of these 10 tables, and these two tables are very huge tables. Okay, what are the optimizations that we need to apply for these tables? So everything has to be taken care in the real time project. So here we are using where, because just to understand the CTE's concepts, but in real time we have to use where clause wherever needed, but underneath we have to see whether we applied optimizations or not. So if not, we have to apply if the table is very huge and if it is impacting your query performance, then definitely we have to go and implement our performance optimization techniques like partitioning and clustering.
Okay.
Okay. So any other questions? Okay, fine. So let's I'm just concluding the big query concepts, guys. So just a high level remind or high level overview on what we have discussed, right? So under big query, okay. So under big query, we have seen the introduction, right? Introduction we have seen, and we have seen the architecture, right? And we have seen the queries, right? Few queries we have seen, and then we have seen functions. Few functions we have seen, and then we have seen loading the data to BigQuery. We have seen Python client. Okay, so and what else we have seen? So we have seen partitioning and bucketing.
UDF,
Yeah, UDFs,
stored
views,
procedures.
CTEs, stored procedures, right? So we have seen all these things. So did I explain to you how to read the data from BigQuery using Python? I mean, I'm just missing that as a backlog for us, because I told you about the Python client, and I explained you how to load your pandas data frame to BigQuery. But did I explain to you how to read the data to pandas data frame from BigQuery table? Did anybody?
I think no.
Okay, so I think we did not discuss it, is it? Mm, Sai?
Yeah. Yes, we did.
Okay. Okay, we missed it. Okay, fine, no problem. Let's quickly we can actually see that it's not a very huge thing as such. So let me open the 2 GBQ or um, pandas GBQ. Okay, so when you go here, so it will give you the. Yeah, so this is simple, guys. So this is as simple as we used 2 GBQ, right? So we in reading we'll just use read underscore GBQ. So pandas GBQ dot read underscore GBQ, and we'll pass the query. Okay, so we'll pass the query. So but we may need to pass the credentials as well. So that is something that we need to understand. So while writing, however, we passed. So similarly, we need to pass it in the read GPQ. Okay, so let me quickly execute for one table. Okay, I'm just going and opening my notebook because I will try to write the code from the notebook Jupyter Python lab. Okay, Okay, so in few cases, I mean, where we actually get this kind of requirements, guys, in few cases you may need to write some ad hoc scripts, guys, ad hoc purge scripts or ad hoc or check scripts. I mean, you may get some requirements in such a way that you have a BigQuery table and you need to read it and then do some kind of a cleaning and then delete something from your table and then apply some logics and then write it into CSV file or something. So some ad hoc script requirements you may face. So in that scenarios, you may need to know how actually we can read the data from BigQuery to Python space, right? So this is something that you need to understand also. So here what I'm trying to do is I will simply try to import this. Okay, so I will try to execute this read GPQ. Okay, select star I can say, or else we'll try to execute. Oh my god, I lost the BigQuery. Okay, so this is my table, right? So I will try to execute the star only. Okay, so you can pass whatever the query that you want to execute here. So that's why, I mean, Python is very pretty much easy, guys, because the reason is uh, you have all the inbuilt libraries. You don't need to write explicitly anything, so you just need to use it. So let me see. Okay, so it is saying there is a dependency pandas underscore gbq. Okay, see, your data got returned, right? So I mean, this is how we actually you will read the data. There is another way of reading the data. So let me explain that as well. Okay, so if we see a BigQuery Python client. Okay, so here if you see Google has given very good documentation for reading your Python, sorry, reading your BigQuery table. So here if you see same thing, you need to create your client object and then prepare your query string and then client dot query of execute your query. That's it. So it's as simple as that. Let me quickly execute it. So this is one way of reading, okay? Meaning when you read using this method, you will directly create a pandas data frame. Okay, it will directly create a pandas data frame. But there is another way of reading data, which will read you a data collection. Okay, so which will read you a data collection of list of dictionaries or something, right? So you can pretty well use that as well. Okay, so let me try to simply go and execute this query. Okay, so these are the two ways of Okay. So here what we are doing, we are trying to create the client object. Okay. So if you are querying from your local laptop, because I'm running it from my notebook, I'm not passing any credentials because my notebook is the root user for entire project, right? So if you see G Cloud config list, okay, here you can actually see the account, right? So this is your service account and it got mapped to your project. Okay, so you have this as long as you have this account ID mapped. So this is your root account. Okay, this is your root account. Be very very clear. Okay, so now by using this account you can access anything. So from the notebook, whatever you are doing, you don't need any kind of a credentials as such, because notebook has been created with the root user itself for your project. Okay, so if you are doing it from your notepad, sorry, if you are doing it from your PyCharm, local PyCharm, then in that case you need to pass your credentials object in the client. Okay, you need to pass your credentials object in the client. Okay, so that is something that you need to know. Okay, so here what we are trying to do, we will try to create a client, bigquery.client API, and then we are forming our query string, whatever the required query string, and we are passing that query to the query method. So under client object, we have a method called query, and we will pass it to the query method. So then the rows will be returned. So when you call the job.result, the rows will be returned. So when you run it, so it has some row field, row dot name, right? So we queried, so we don't need name because that is not exist. We'll just query row dot id, right? See here. So this is how you actually read the data. So there are couple of ways to read the data, right? So you can read it with the normal BigQuery client. It's a plain client library, or you can read it with Pandas GBQ, Google BigQuery library. You have read GBQ and write GBQ, right? So two methods you have. So you can use these two methods to read it directly to a pandas data frame. But here it won't give you a pandas data frame, rather it will give you a data collection. Later on you have to iterate it. Okay, later on you have to iterate it. Let's see what is the type of this rows. So see here, row iterator. So this is a row iterator. So you can iterate this data collection. Okay, this is Google Cloud BigQuery table dot row iterator. So it's a data collection of row iterator type. Okay, so we have multiple collections, right? List, set, right? Are you able to hear me, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So we have multiple data collections in Python, right? Similar to that, Google has inbuilt data collection called table writer. So row iterator, table row iterator. So this is one of the data collections. So as soon as you call this uh, query job dot result, it will go and execute this query, and it will create your variable of row iterator type. Once you have this variable, I mean the result stored into this variable, you can iterate that variable and fetch whatever you need. Okay, or write it into CSV, or trigger another job with the result. Whatever is needed, you can do that. Okay, so these are the two ways of reading the data from the BigQuery table. Any questions, guys? Hope everything is clear. So we only have 10 minutes. It's okay. So what I can do is I will try to close the today's session. So today we have discussed about common table expressions, and then we have seen a couple of ways to read the data to read the data from BigQuery to Python space. Okay, so that's all from the BigQuery standpoint, guys. I don't want to make a incomplete introduction to dataproc, so we'll spend uh, tomorrow complete session to introduce dataproc to you. Okay, so we have discussed almost everything in the BigQuery. Okay. Okay, so I request you to go and practice every concept that we have discussed, and implement things with very huge volume of data, and then test your logics. Okay, write your stored procedures, call the stored procedures. Okay, stored procedures with arguments. So do everything is possible to you. If you have any queries, please post it in the WhatsApp group. We are here to help you. Okay, so that's all I have from BigQuery side, guys. Anybody have any concerns? So till now we have discussed about NiFi, GCS, and BigQuery. Okay, so these are the core things that we have discussed. Okay, the next concentration is dataproc, uh, dataproc, and cloud functions and workflow. We have three pending things. Okay, cloud functions and workflow are a very lightweight services. We'll spend major concentration on data proc. Okay, so that is the uh, I mean, once we discussed all these three things, three services, then we'll spend couple of days for the project discussion, real-time project discussion, and then we will wrap up the course. Okay, that's the plan, guys. So any questions or queries, concerns? So it may extend maybe uh, this, and I may take this complete month, and maybe one more week in the September, guys. So by then we can complete our course. Okay. So any questions or concerns?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I have for today, guys. We'll start fresh tomorrow with data proc. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining once again tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay.